So it's not something I would ever wish upon anyone. You're never the same afterwards. Like, you're always going to be jaded.
In the moment that it happens, it feels like you will never be okay again.
So many emotions, and a lot of times it can feel like, how do you experience joy?
Your life changes. You have to adapt to a new normal.
You know, there's certainly some really dark days.
Some days I was like, okay, like I'm okay. Other days and I was okay, and then I was like, well, why am I okay? Like, I should still be sad. And then other days I was a complete like wreck.
I wish someone would have just said to me that it was okay.
People don't realize is that we just didn't lose a life, we lost a lifetime.
I can't do it. I'm Angela.
And I'm Mike, and we are from Gibsonia. Our son Preston was born in May of 2014. He was the happiest, smiliest little boy you could possibly imagine. Truly a blessing. In the fall of 2014, in end of September, he had a traumatic event at daycare where he stopped breathing. He was rushed to Forbes Hospital before being life-flighted to Children's Hospital, where he spent a week. Ultimately, he did not make it. However, that experience and having that extra time with him was truly just a blessing, even though it was about as sad as you can imagine.
So Preston was our firstborn baby, and he was just a happy, smiley, perfect little boy. I can't do it. I don't even know what else to say. I mean,
this is the opportunity that
I know.
I feel like we don't always get, where you can just really just talk it up. Because it's not a specific thing about, like, for instance, when we're on the telethon and it's asking about kind of where I was going with it. Like, you can fill in the blanks in between, and really, the discussion that we don't always get.
But I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know what to.
You wanna restart it?
No, because what you said was all great. You did a great job. I just don't. I want to add on, just like I said, about how. I already went through all this too, but I got it out of the way. So Preston was our firstborn son, and he was everything that a first baby could be. We did all the firsts. We learned, sleep habits or not sleeping, and just what to what to do with him, and watching him play and laying on the floor with him and learning his routines, and he just made us so happy. He made our whole family happy, and he was the most perfect baby in every way possible. He laughed, he smiled, he giggled, he did sleep, he did everything. He brought us so much joy. Though his story was unfortunate, we still have lots of memories of him, and we still carry on a lot of things that we like to do in memory of him. But the biggest thing, though, is that we talk about him a lot, and we have 2 other children, and they know their big brother, and they know how amazing he was. They're very proud to be his siblings.
So each year we hold a charity golf outing to remember him, with how just incredible he was, and the person we can only imagine he would have become. There's no doubt that he would have done great things, so we wanted to do something to truly remember him, honor him, keep his name going, because I have no doubt that he would have done amazing things. On top of that, we also, at his birthday every year, we get all of our family together, have a big party. We'll do a balloon release, send letters to him, just things that definitely make sure that everyone in our family, like Angela noted before with our children, know him and celebrate him, because he is still one of, if not the biggest part of our lives.
So when we were in the hospital with Preston for the week, where we were waiting for tests to come back, and we were on a journey of up and down, and things are good, things are not good, one of the things that someone did for us was bought a bunch of these bracelets, and they say prayers for Preston. We've never taken ours off. Our family members wear them, and we've given them to people over time, and it's always nice to see people wearing them. And I think people do it purposefully to let us know that they're thinking of us. And it's helpful for me. It's helpful when sometimes people just wear the bracelet, they don't have to say anything, and I think that makes other people feel more comfortable.
It's always nice when someone we know wears them. Even friends, former co-workers, when I connect with them, they still have them on, and it's something that's really rewarding, because we know, they have Preston in their thoughts, because that's something that ultimately makes us proud, because he was truly special, and to see him live on in any capacity is just truly humbling.
And then the other thing, another symbol that we have, it's been a long time since we told this story.
Yeah.
So we have these hearts. You want to show yours too?
Yeah.
When we were at Children's Hospital, again with Preston, and one of the days that Preston went for one of his tests, these hearts were left on the table for us. Preston had one, and each of us had one. So there were 3 hearts, and there was a very kind note with it that said that, your heart, though you may not be with him, because we couldn't go with him for the test, your hearts are always together. And so we keep these hearts with us. Preston has one with him now still, but it's a very strong connection that we have to him. And in fact, this one specifically, my mom actually, and this was one of his onesies that he wore, and my mom, sewed it for me. So I have the other one that is actually with him, but this was a memory of him. One thing that really helps us is using things in nature or around that remind us of him. Signs and spirituality are huge things that have helped us. A big sign for us are anchors, and his theme in his bedroom were we call it nautical monkeys. Mike wanted monkeys, I wanted a beach theme, and so we kind of combined it. And, when we were trying to design his nursery, Amazon had nautical monkeys, and so he has, he had stencils and a lot of the pictures and the sheets even in his crib were the combination of those. And after he passed away, we saw anchors everywhere. A lot of people saw anchors and would report back to us and say, I saw an anchor today and I thought of Preston. And those things really helped us. And beyond that, music has helped us a lot too. There are a lot of different songs that remind us of Preston, or remind us of our grief journey, how we coped then, now. And oftentimes those songs come on at the times that we need them the most. Or we'll see those signs at the times that we need them the most. So we know and we feel that Preston is surrounding us often.
One of the things that our son has kind of picked up is Preston's birthday was May 15th. So with sports, he requests number 15 in memory of him.
They talk about him also at school, which makes us really proud. And we often tell the teachers about, our son and how the kids might talk about them. And most of the time they'll say they've already talked about him before. So before we even have the opportunity to tell the teachers, they've already spoken about their older brother. And so they know him.
So after Preston passed away, our first step was kind of going and doing our own research, trying to find something to help cope. And it was almost a daunting task at first because there were a lot of resources out there, or a lot of support groups, articles, publications, but it's really hard to know where to start. We were very fortunate. We were connected with someone who was part of a support group that took the time out of their schedule to go meet with us personally. We were able to go and speak with her just, on an individual level, and she had experienced a similar situation, and just being able to connect with her in that setting and kind of get comfortable really kind of opened our eyes, because that got us down the path of then finding a support group that was of similar circumstance of what we had dealt with. We had attended one other one, and it was a lot of different stories, and it was harder to connect and almost harder for us to truly feel comfortable there. One thing that we talk about is everyone definitely grieves and copes differently. Even when it comes to support and speaking with others, everyone handles that differently. I personally was not immediately receptive to the idea of a support group, but again, that personal meeting, kind of changed my mind a little more, and I'm very grateful for that. We've met a lot of great families through that, but more importantly, it just really helped us open up and learn a lot about the grief process.
I think at the beginning of, our grief when we first lost Preston, we didn't know where to turn to. We didn't have anyone. Preston passing away at the hospital, they provided a few things to us, pamphlets, but it wasn't anything that helped us in that moment. And I think because we were so raw, we didn't know what we needed. We didn't know where to turn to. And to be honest, we didn't really have anyone right away that we knew. We didn't know that infant loss was a thing. I mean, we knew it was a thing, but we didn't have a connection to anyone that went through something similar to us.
I think what ultimately was helpful, just like I'd mentioned before, connecting to someone on a personal level who had that experience, and receiving a list of support groups or resources is a lot different than actually being able to discuss it and truly get a baseline understanding of what you're dealing with, because it is incredibly overwhelming. The whole circumstance that you're going through and the mentality and the mental space you're in, it's hard to process a lot of things. So having someone there to break it down and really kind of connect with you and get the ball rolling was probably the most helpful thing that I think in our grief journey.
Yeah, because on paper, you know, a lot of the groups that we came across, or even social media, you know, connections and things like that, on paper things sounded good, but we didn't know how to get started. We didn't know how to walk into this room of all these other people that have gone through losses, similar or not similar. But the connection with this woman that came to meet with us, it made the process easier, and it kind of pushed us a little bit, maybe out of our comfort zone, but made us more comfortable to enter a space that we were uncomfortable in. I wish everyone would take the time to know that it's different for everyone. There's no book that explains it. I wish there was. I wish there was, because I would live by the book, but there isn't. And everyone deals with it differently, and it's okay. You know, Mike and I dealt with grief very differently, but we grew, and we grew together, and we honored the way each other needed to deal with it. And I wish that everyone just knew to take the time that they need to feel what they need to feel at that time. If it's a time of sorrow, if it's a time of anger, happiness, it's okay to feel happy in your grief process as well, though that's very hard. That was very hard for us to overcome. We didn't allow ourselves to feel happy in the beginning, and we felt guilty when we wanted to do something. And that feeling happy and doing things helped us. So if people could just recognize that, you know, early on, or know that it's okay to feel whatever they're feeling in that moment.
Yeah, definitely just allow your emotions one way or another to come through. You know, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. You know, it sounds wrong, but for us who are going through that grief process, life goes on. And I know, you know, that's very poorly phrased considering the circumstances, but it's true. And, you know, your life changes. You have to adapt to a new normal. But you can't do that by just wallowing, being in despair, and not allowing yourself to grow.
I think that's a good point too. Growing through grief, growing together, growing as a family is a really, really good point, because we are different, and we're okay with that. So just knowing that we grew from that experience, a terrible experience, but we grew, and anyone going through grief can experience that as well. Don't be afraid to talk about the loss. Don't be afraid to talk about your child. Every new person I meet knows about Preston, and I think that's extremely important. We've had a lot of new experiences, and it's important that I speak about my son. It's important that when people ask me how many kids I have, I tell them I have 3 children. And when they ask me their names, I tell them the story, because they should know that. It may make people uncomfortable, but it's important to me and my family that Preston is spoken about.
I would say just allow yourself to grieve however you need to. Again, you know, allow yourself to be happy if that time comes, because it will come. You know, talk about it. If that's something that you need to do, talk about it. And it might make others feel uncomfortable, but the people who truly care will listen. And that is going to be something that you will need to do. I think having any resource available is incredibly helpful, and in our situation, it might not have been something that we would have been comfortable jumping into right away, but once we found our path in our grief journey, I think it would have been something that we really would have enjoyed. And one of the things that we found very helpful was just connecting with others, creating a bond, because you're all in this journey together. You've all been through the same thing. You have a connection with people who understand what you're going through, because as well-intentioned as your family and friends are, they don't quite understand what you're going through like someone else who has. So having that available and being able to really connect in for meaningful time, and not just, 1 hour a month you're meeting with someone, but, a retreat for a couple of days where you're really connecting. And I feel like that would be incredibly helpful. And at some point in our path, it would have been something I think that we really would have gained a lot from.
I think you brought up a good point about spending time with people. One of the things that we're extremely thankful for in our journey are the people that we've met, the people that we've met along the way, that though each of our situations were different, these people have lost a child, and these people know how profound that is, and how, how we're feeling, or how they may have gone through a similar situation, especially with us dealing with grief differently. Just us being able to speak to people and make those connections with people would be a really, really helpful part of our journey.